Jr. Legacy of Social and Environmental Justice. My name is Jessie D'Elia, and I am so humbled and honored to be part of the team that's welcoming you here this evening to start this year's celebration. I wish that we could be gathering in person. I would love nothing more than to be able to be together, to enjoy music and dance, to learn more about Dr. King and the amazing work that happens in New Haven and across Connecticut in service of social and environmental justice. In this time where we're experiencing really profound loss and witnessing the continued violence of racism in our country, gathering feels so important. And my hope is that we can do so, that we can come together as beloved community in this time to keep learning, to keep celebrating, and do so from a distance. I hope that you'll join us over the next couple of days to do that learning and that celebrating together, and that this event sparks hope in your heart and inspires you to do your part to make our world a more beautiful and just one. I'm really delighted to be welcoming Kamani Harrison and Jamal Vaught this evening from Key Bookstore to share a spoken word piece celebrating Dr. King, and to share a welcome and some reflections from the stewards and early supporters of this celebration. I want to thank our co-founding partner, the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, all of our hosting partners, the New Haven Museum, Students for Educational Justice, and the Yale Schwartzman Center, and to Citizens Bank for their sponsorship that makes this event possible. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for gathering as an act of belonging, as an act of resistance, as an act of belief in our pursuit of social and environmental justice. We're so happy you're here. So I would love to hand it over to you, Kamani and Jamal. Thank you for being here and for starting the celebration.
Thank you so much, Jessie, for having us. And we're going to introduce ourselves. So my name is Kamani. I'm the owner of Key Bookstore. It's an interactive online bookstore curated for Afrocentricity, spirituality, environmentalism, and entrepreneurship. And we have King Jamal here.
I'm Jamal, you guys.
And he's going to show you what makes you king.
Yes, and I'm actually a member of the community, an artist in the community, and really just a helper of what Kamani is doing here, with the Key Bookstore in the community. So I offer my time to just, help in the best way I can. And I'm honored to actually do this spoken word piece. I kind of last minute, but it came together. So yeah. Dr. Martin Luther King. I really always thought that their last name suited him the best. Inspired some of the greatest minds of our time, down to the kings of Pentagon with hearts of gold in their chest. You see, Dr. King was a true hidden figure, kept secret in the womb of Alberta Williams, who one day grew up and made his name public so that the whole world can hear him. We should all aspire to be Martin Luther King. So as this marathon continues and we remember his words, venues, we could focus on the rise of the mind, with success being the main course on the menu. See, Dr. King inspired many of us to dream in a time where hope was just a thought. They arrested poor Rosa, not giving up her seat, so Dr. King led the boycott, and we marched and we walked. With the Black Queen by his side and the Black Queen on his mind, Rosa Parks was just a passenger, but that Black Queen gave him pride. We should all aspire to be Martin Luther King. Just imagine being 15 and getting accepted into college. Our children are indeed the future because at 15, Dr. King had that knowledge. Skipping through grades 9 and 12, his body was small, but his mind was swell, designed to lose but still prevail. We should all aspire to be Martin Luther King. So hold your heads high and stand firm in unity. We need more Key Bookstores in all communities so we can aspire to be kings and gain knowledge and teach fluently. So let us reflect on the power of being broken and remember the wise words of I Have a Dream speech that was spoken, flowing deep into the dreamer's mind and heart like the ocean. We should all aspire to be Dr. Martin Luther King. So from Babylon to Timbuktu, the same dream Dr. King had lives in me and you. So the day that we are born until the day that we rest, we should strive hard to do our best. Keep his dream alive and make ours manifest. We should all aspire to be Martin Luther Kings. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here and for sharing your piece. From our end, we actually, in this digital age, we were getting some feedback that it was actually difficult to hear. And
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
No.
We're doing it live. So if it's okay with you, if you would like to share it again, I know that I would love to hear all of the words that you just shared. I could hear some of them, but
That's
I think
no problem.
if you come towards the center and we weren't able to hear you when you leaned down. So if you're able to reposition the mic, we can
Yes.
figure out how to make sure we get to actually hear your piece. Thanks for bearing with us, everyone.
Sorry, everyone.
You're fine. I just didn't. We want to hear what you have to say. So.
Okay. So, okay.
Let's try
Let's
this
do a
again.
little test and then we'll try again.
Right.
So
you're gonna share the screen.
Share screen.
Okay.
Okay, let's run it back.
Yes. So, Dr. Martin Luther King. I really always thought that last name suited him the best, inspiring some of the greatest minds of our time down to the kings of kindergarten with hearts of gold in their chests. You see, Dr. King was a true hidden figure, kept secret in the womb of Alberta Williams, who one day grew up and made his dream public so that the whole world can hear him. We should all aspire to be Martin Luther Kings. So as this marathon continues and we remember his words flowing through packed out venues, we can focus on the rise of the mind with success being the main course on the menu. You see, Dr. King inspired many of us to dream in a time where hope was just a thought. They arrested poor Rosa for not giving up her seat, so Dr. King led the boycott and we marched and we walked. With the Black queen by his side and the Black queen on his mind, Rosa Parks was just a passenger, but the Black queen gave him drive. We should all aspire to be Martin Luther Kings. Just imagine being 15 and getting accepted into college. Because at 15, Dr. King had that knowledge. Skipping through grades 9 and 12, his body was small, but his mind was swell, designed to lose, but still prevail. We can all aspire to be Martin Luther Kings. So hold your heads high and stand firm in unity. We need more Key Bookstores in all communities so we can aspire to be kings, gain knowledge, and teach fluently. So let us reflect on the power of being broken and remember the wise words of the I Have a Dream speech that was spoken. Flowing deep into the dreamer's mind and heart like the ocean, we should all aspire to be Martin Luther Kings. From Babylon to Timbuktu, the same dream Dr. King had lives in me and you. So the day that we are born until the day we rest, we should strive hard and do our best, keep his dream alive and make ours manifest. We should all aspire to be Martin Luther King. And that's it. Yeah. So that's it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for pausing and for doing that again. It's so that was beautiful. Thank you. I'm glad that we could all hear what you have to say. It was really, really moving. So thank you again to Jamal and to Kamani. Thank you all for joining. At this point, we're going to transition to share something that is actually pre-recorded, a conversation between stewards of this event and early supporters, some of whom we're all navigating technology during this time. So you'll get to see some faces, you'll hear many voices, and you'll get to see pictures of the event from the 25 years that we've been gathering in honor of Dr. King. The video runs just over 20 minutes and we'll complete the program after that. Thank you so much for being here and we hope you enjoy these opening reflections.
Welcome to the 25th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Legacy of Social and Environmental Justice. I'm Jason Dockery. I've been involved with this event for a long time, participating in dancing, singing, rapping, you name it, I've probably done it. Now I'm the host, and I love it.
And I'm Edith Pestana, and I'm with the State of Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, and I've been involved in this event for 25 years. And greetings.
I'm Sheila Stiles Jewell. I'm a NOAA fisheries geneticist at a laboratory in Milford, Connecticut, and I've been involved for about 24 years, and I'm thrilled and excited to have been a part of it and to see that it continues today.
Excellent. I'm David Heiser. I'm currently that's cool. I'm currently the director of student programs at the Yale Peabody Museum. But when I first started working at the Peabody in 2001, I was the events coordinator, and so I was the one at the Peabody who was working on helping to pull this fantastic celebration together. And I feel so lucky that I stepped into that at the time, and that I'm still able to be involved. So welcome, as Jason said, and Jason, back to you.
Okay, and like you hear, this group of us have been together for a long time, going a span of 20 years. Today, we all want to welcome you to the 25th annual celebration, share some history and reflect, and also show some memorable images as we as we re-aired their heads in the country. I totally skipped a line and I apologize, but we're going to keep going. We hope that we have the strength and the will as the people to continue to advance the work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jason. And I'm going to put up some images, some of those memorable images that you mentioned, right here, and you can those of you watching this hopefully will enjoy, maybe even recognize some of these images as they play, and so we'll have those playing while we talk. So Edith, over to you.
So the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection and the Yale Peabody Museum co-founded this celebration of Dr. King 25 years ago. At the time, a man named Bruce Blair was on the Peabody Museum Associates Board, and he was also a member of the department's Environmental Equity Community Advisory Board in New Haven. So we had a relationship, and he wanted to introduce the idea that the museum be more welcoming and friendly to the people of New Haven. He introduced it to the Peabody Museum Associates Board, and other board members such as Annette Lewis and Lee Cruz helped him bring it to the people of New Haven. So our involvement over the year has really been a way for the Department of Energy and Environment Protection to teach visitors about Connecticut's environment and natural resources, and to open up the museum to the New Haven community, as well as introduce the community to environmental justice issues and the agency's mission. Back in the 1990s, there was a more adversarial relationship between Yale and the community, and Bruce wanted to invite families to come in and become comfortable with the museum and learn from it and enjoy it. And when we're not in a pandemic, we gather as a community to learn and celebrate Dr. King's legacy, as well as the work of current leaders, artists, thinkers, grassroots organizers, scientists, individuals working for social and environmental justice in Connecticut and in our region. Environmental justice is defined as the fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all people, regardless of race, color, national origin, or income, with respect to the development, implementation, and enforcement of laws, regulations, and policies. And this goal will be achieved when everyone enjoys the same degree of protection from a healthy environment in which they live, learn, and work. Another way of putting it, it's that EJ includes the equitable distribution of risks and benefits, as well as meaningful participation in the community's environmental decision-making. We know that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. would have joined the environmental justice movement. It is a civil rights movement. In fact, in 1968, he attended the Memphis sanitation strike in order to help the sanitation workers improve their environment. Sadly, his life was cut short, but we know that he would have been part of the environmental justice movement in the United States.
Thanks, Edith. That's a great introduction and history for how this event came to be, and certainly matches what I found in 2001 when I arrived. And I wonder, you talked about your involvement with the DEEP, also your colleague Doris Johnson, who has been part of this event for many, many years in really huge ways, tremendously giving ways. You and she have both really represented the department along with various commissioners who've come down and been part of the event. But I wonder, if you could just talk to why this event is important to you and to the department still to this day.
So thank you for mentioning Doris Johnson. She has been my co-partner in organizing. She is the department's environmental justice outreach coordinator. She does outreach and education, and Doris and I saw this marriage between our agency and the Yale Peabody Museum as a way to engage Black and Brown children in the environment and natural sciences for two reasons: to create environmental stewards in the community, and also to help diversify the staff in government agencies that work in environmental protection and public health. So for us, it was a way to kind of try and spark interest in children to choose careers in sciences and engineering and the environment, and to hopefully get them engaged in the environmental justice community in their respective communities.
Fantastic, and yeah, you think it's been fairly successful, Edith, in that regard?
So from our perspective, our staff, and there have been many staff that have been participating in the event for like over 20 years, we always relish seeing the children that attended the first MLK days coming back and bringing their children. So the event has become intergenerational, and certainly the agency has a place, and the New Haven community is well aware of our sincerity in dealing with environmental justice issues and our sincerity for inclusion.
Well, thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for that. And yeah, we are so thrilled that we've been able to maintain this partnership over the years. And speaking of people who have come as children and now still come back as adults, I want to throw this back to you, Jason. You were a teenager when this event began in 1997, and you spent lots of time here at the Peabody. You've been there every single year without fail. Why was this important to you as a teen, and why is it still important to you today, Jason?
So I was a preteen. Like I wasn't even in high school yet. And as I guess my participation in the event really made it somewhat more important to me than anything else. To be able to say that I put something on for people to come and see at Yale was a big thing for me. But also more so to just be able to come in and do things in a museum, to see friends that I saw at the park, and they're looking at and learning about the same things I was learning about. The MLK Day opened up doors for me and programming for me that I probably would not have known about if this event didn't happen. I was introduced to inner city outings through MLK Days, and where Inner City Outings was a program to where as though they took inner city youth and brought them on, camping trips and took them hiking on trails. And, when I would see Doris and Edith at their community table with, what you guys have, footprints and things of that nature, and we would have to go back out and say, oh, I can relate to that because I did that at the MLK event, and those ladies were showing me how important it was to look at the ground and see what we have living around us in our own neighborhood. I don't know if it was Doris or Edith, but someone always would relate that, these animals are living in our neighborhood with us. It wasn't until the later years when we got into entertainment, and that opened up a mass array of doors for me, to where as though I got into dancing, singing, acting, and I wasn't shy about doing it because we had the MLK event, and I was always performing in front of friends and family. So it just made things a lot easier for me to get into.
Nice. Jason, I know that the entertainment piece has been big for you. I mean, I've seen you dance. I've heard you rap. You're you got an innate talent there, and it's been great to have you. But you've also, you were really behind the scenes at the event too. I mean, it wasn't just that you were there, but you there you are, in fact, I believe, in one of those photos. That was awesome. You were basically, you became staff. I mean, working with Kenny Powell and the DJ and sound crew, also performing at times. You got to know everybody, and like you say, I mean, after all these years, I mean, there was no better person to bring back in as our MC than you. So it's really fantastic that this is been such a long relationship.
So Edith had mentioned about this man named Bruce Blair, and I was a neighbor of Bruce Blair's, and Bruce was very good friends with Kenneth Powell, and like I said, a couple of days ago, in hindsight, the project really worked. I got into inner city outings through Bruce Blair, but I more so got into so I have to explain the Hip Hop Cafe at MLK Celebration.
Yeah, tell us more about that.
So we love the event. It just was missing something in between story times and the slam. So I guess somehow, some way, Bruce might have talked to Kenny. I don't know when that happened, but somehow, some way, we got permission to feed and entertain the public during and in between performances or story times or exhibits. And we called it the Hip Hop Cafe, and we called it the Hip Hop Cafe to make it, like Edith said, open to Black and brown youth. You could come in, you can grab some water, listen to some instrumentals or some, whatever local, whatever hot music was on at that time. We had it upstairs in the auditorium, and it was great. We got to hang out at the museum all day, and see performers perform for ourselves, and then at the end of the day, we had a great, awesome slam, and we got to listen to like poetry. And I don't think that kids understood what poetry was until they actually had to come to a slam, and realize that it's more than scat and people talking about velvet roses. When you hear someone talking about what's going on in your community, you relate. So yeah, I mean, just in hindsight and looking at everything, I did become staff with Elm City's Finest because we had the Hip Hop Cafe, and we had to feed the people who were just lingering around and waiting for new performances and new exhibits to be put on. I missed the Hip Hop Cafe, but I am more behind the scenes and a little bit more in your face now because you guys have given me the opportunity to MC and host, and I love that as well. And David, I thank you so much because you just kind of just let us do our own thing. And in doing that, the event worked out even more so, I think.
Yeah, it's great to hear. That's definitely that was the idea, you know, and yeah, the Hip Hop Cafe, I missed that too. I'm not sure I missed vacuuming the popcorn out of the rug afterwards, but everything else about it was, you know, it was really, Hip Hop Cafe was a fantastic idea, a great place to make, you know, teens feel like they had a home there as well. You know, in a museum that at that point was having a difficult time, I think, attracting teens. So yeah, good stuff. Let me throw this to Sheila. Sheila, you've been part of the organizing committee for this event since the very early years. And you're a member of a number of organizations that have provided educational activities every year. From your perspective, Sheila, why has this program been valuable to the regional community? And do you think the activity areas and the organizations are a critical part of the event?
I think one of the best things about this event is how much people can learn while they are also having fun and celebrating and commemorating Dr. King. You can learn about environmental and social justice heroes 1 minute and then dance to St. Luke's Steel Band the next. The Poetry Slam is raw and honest. And every year it provides some of the most memorable history lessons and reminds us about how much work remains to be done. We want people to remember what they learn and experience at the event so that they will take all of that positive energy and desire for change, bring it home with them, and then go out again, respectively, into their communities. And it's a great family event. It's about education and information. But we also know that the more people interact with others, the more tolerant they are of their differences. I think the celebration has provided an opportunity for the public to learn about the work of many wonderful organizations, such as you mentioned, that they might not have known about before, such as the Greater New Haven African American Historical Society and the National Council of Negro Women. And I'm a member of both of those organizations, so I can attest to the good work that's being done in social justice. Both of these organizations have shared their work at the event year after year, and their perspective is extremely valuable and important. I definitely don't think the event would be as successful without the community organizations. Seeing how they fit into Dr. King's long fight for social and environmental justice, this is a perspective that's very important in terms of what the different organizations bring to the event. People not only learn about how they contribute to the community, but also how they provide added significance to what Dr. King was all about. For example, the National Council of Negro Women is an organization that has fought for social justice through voter registration, education, housing, and more. But people would not be aware of that without the event. Dr. Dorothy Arlene Height, a 40-year past president of the National Council of Negro Women, actually interacted with Dr. King. She was heavily involved in the civil rights movement and, in fact, was called the godmother of the civil rights movement by President Barack Obama. She was one of the people standing with and supporting Dr. Martin Luther King in Washington. That history is very important for people to know. The Greater New Haven African American Historical Society, for example, also plays an important role in our community. And their presence at the event makes people aware of the organization and makes it possible for people to learn about our local history as well as in the context of United States of America history. For the community at large, this is an experience that's very valuable in terms of learning about the Peabody Museum and what a natural history museum is all about. And because I served as a past president of the Associates Council, and also because I'm a scientist, I feel especially strongly about the need for people to learn and understand about the environment so that they can speak up for environmental justice and speak out against environmental injustices in their own communities. Thank you.
Wow. Oh, Sheila, thank you so much for that reflection. It's really an honor to have you on this call. It's an honor to have worked with you for all these years, and just a huge thanks to you for everything you've done to carry this event forward. And yeah, you're a real hero. So Sheila, thank you so much.
Thank you, David.
Sure. So yeah, I just want to add my 2 cents here. And, thinking about the Peabody's perspective, I mean, as I said at the beginning, I represent about 20 years of the 25-year history. I wish I'd been around at the beginning to, wish I was at that table to hear the initial discussions. But all I can say is I couldn't be happier that that the people around that table decided to make this happen. And when I walked into the Peabody, 5 years after the founding of this event, it had a head of steam that was clearly only sort of onward and upward. I remember when I arrived in July, the person who I took over from said, "All right, Martin Luther King event is in January, and you're already behind. Get working." So that was that was a good suggestion, and it's a big thing, a huge thing, the biggest thing we do every year. When we were able to have it in person, we got to a point where there were about 6,000 people over 2 days, which is immense. But when I think about it, since the founding of this event, I think what's made this annual event so successful and appreciated by people in the region is that from the start, it's been a celebration by and for the community. And when I first, as I mentioned, when I first served as coordinator of this event in 2002, in its 6th year, all the elements that people have grown to love were already in place. The activities that we've mentioned to teach people about environmental and social justice and Dr. King that were run by over 30 local organizations. Music and dance performances by youth and by adult groups from Greater New Haven, and emceed by a community leader. A community-based poetry open mic and competitive slam, storytelling by local authors and teachers, a participatory drum circle, and a place for teens to dance and hang out, as we mentioned, this hip-hop cafe. And all of it was planned by a group of generous and highly committed community volunteers. While we've added things like the high school art contest and made adjustments along the way, the foundational model of opening our doors and sharing power by inviting community members to lead the organizational process and anchor the activities and presentations is a primary reason it remains so important and relevant today. There have been so many people who have contributed their time and energy to this event since it was founded 25 years ago, many of whom you've seen in these photos. But I specifically want to call out some who've already been mentioned and some who haven't: Bruce Blair, Kenny Powell, and Zanette Lewis for their vision and first bringing this event to life at the Peabody. Sadly, Zanette is no longer with us, but each year we hold the poetry events in her honor, hosted by longtime friend and collaborator Ngoma, with Qualo now also running the open mic. This year I'm really going to miss the final drum circle led by Michael Mills, but it's not easy to do that kind of thing over Zoom. I don't want to risk leaving someone out, so I'm not going to try to put together a list of the many, many contributors to this celebration over the years. But please know that we're deeply grateful for everything you've given and in many cases continue to give. This year's celebration brings together longstanding and new partners to create a digital festival experience. I want to thank the New Haven Museum, Students for Educational Justice, and the Schwartzman Center at Yale for their ongoing partnership in creating this occasion to gather a beloved community. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and make sure that you can all see us again, while I also thank Citizens Bank for the exclusive sponsorship that made this year's event possible. So Jason, as MC, I want to turn back to you.
Okay, thank you, David, and thank you, Edith and Sheila, for being with me to say to the public that we are sad that we cannot be with you in person. Deeply saddened. We love this event. This event means a lot to us, and I can't begin to explain how this event impacts us. We are upset that we cannot put it on and be with you. But I hope that you enjoy our online activities that we put together for you over the next few days. And as a whole, once again, I'd like to say, welcome.
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 Thank you everyone so much for gathering this evening. I really hope that you'll join us for other programs throughout the weekend. On the eve of Dr. King's birthday, it's wonderful to be with you all. Tomorrow we'll have a backyard birding program. On Sunday, we'll have our amazing reimagined poetry jam with poets from renowned from across the country. And on Monday, there will be lots of programming for children and families, as well as a youth roundtable and an arts and activism roundtable in the evening. So sincerely hope to see you in these other spaces and that you have a beautiful rest of your evening. Thank you all so much. Good night.